Welcome, everyone, to Life Changing Wellness, and I thank you for tuning in today. We are discussing men's health today and what are the natural alternatives to Viagra, and do these herbal compounds really work? What are their differences so you can make an educated choice? Today's broadcast is brought to you by Pure Essence Labs, so be sure to check out all of their fine products at pureessencelabs.com. Well, let's talk aphrodisiacs for men. What works? What doesn't? How do they work? And what's best for you? Aphrodisiacs have been around a very long time, centuries, matter of fact, and men continue to search for sexual stimulants to improve sexual function, performance, as well as fertility and aging. And so let's kick this off with one that really should be a great foundation to which to build. Look up the herb maca root, M-A-C-A. This will increase your energy, your stamina, increases sperm count and fertility, increases sexual desire and function, and normalizes hormonal function. The thing about maca is it contains high levels of arginine, which is needed to improve nitric oxide in the bloodstream to create an erection. Arginine is also there to promote sperm count increases as well. This is why maca root is the #1 fertility herb. So men, check it out. Normal dose is about a teaspoon every morning. You can mix it in a smoothie or juice, but be aware, if you've never tried maca before, you may want to try a half a teaspoon at a time. For some men, not all, they consider this a very hot herb, meaning that for some men it could cause irritability or I'm not going to say an anger issue, but just be aware that maca really seems to increase that ability in some men, but not all. Just be aware that when you take it, not to be jumping on your wife or your girlfriend for no reason at all. So maca is the foundation to work from. Number 2 we want to look at, as I mentioned from maca, is the amino acid arginine. This has been a mainstay for so long. It's an amino acid, works great in all men, does not interfere with any medications at all. Now, if you are dealing with any type of herpes virus or you have a problem with cold sores on a regular basis, you most likely need to avoid the arginine. But arginine is used to increase the nitric oxide in the bloodstream to create and form an erection. A normal dose of arginine can be anywhere from 1,000 milligrams to 10 grams. If you go to the much higher dose of arginine, be aware that it could cause slight diarrhea in some men. The other thing about arginine is, again, it increases sperm count. If you're increasing fertility or you just want to simply increase sperm count for sexual purposes, this is the amino acid to use. Also, lowers blood pressure. They found out that men who take arginine on a regular basis have better blood pressure readings. It relaxes the blood vessels. It even strengthens the arterial wall. It's fantastic for kidney function. So if you have reduced kidney function, arginine helps to improve overall kidney function, lowers the blood pressure within the kidneys. So you have an added benefit here. So if you're dealing with high blood pressure, which can also lead to an increase in erectile dysfunction, arginine is the nutrient to use. Now, there's another nutrient called L-citrulline, which has been very popular for the past few years. L-citrulline does the exact same thing as arginine, but it seems to work faster. It's more effective. It bypasses the liver where arginine does not. So you take L-citrulline, it bypasses the liver, goes straight to the kidneys, where the kidneys then convert the L-citrulline into arginine, and instantly you have the use of arginine for sexual function, for fertility, for blood pressure, and also kidney health. So look at those two. I've used both. I can tell a big difference by taking L-citrulline. It does work more effectively, and it does work faster. If you're going to use L-citrulline or even arginine before sex, take it a good hour. Take it 2 hours before. And just a side note that if you are taking Viagra or Cialis or any of those types of drugs, you will notice that those drugs, their performance will increase greatly if you are taking L-citrulline or arginine an hour or two before sex, because usually with those types of drugs, you do take them an hour prior to sexual activity. Now let's look at some of the herbal compounds. The herbal world has so many aphrodisiacs available for men. There's one in particular that we don't hear a lot of from South America called Catuaba. That's Catuaba. It's a tree bark. They've learned that it increases sex drive, reduces anxiety, especially guys, if you have performance anxiety, Catuaba could be the herb to use. I've used Catuaba. I don't really see a big difference in it, but here's the thing. When you look at multiple herbal companies out there, some herbal companies use cheap herb, where others will use high quality herbs. So in a way, it's hard to tell who's making the good stuff, but you do want to, it basically comes down to trial and error and experimenting. But the herb itself, if you look for herbal companies that sell herb in powder form, you may get a better quality of the herb. I do know that Catuaba is available as a powder, so just read the directions if you plan on using it. So again, Catuaba increases sex drive, reduces anxiety, especially for you men who have performance anxiety. Another herb that I absolutely love, to me, this is at the top of my list for aphrodisiacs, called Mirapoama. Mirapoama is from South America. A lot of people in South America will combine Mirapoama with Catuaba. One reason why I like the Mirapoama so well is because it increases sexual desire within hours. For some men, you can tell the difference in 3 hours. Some it may take longer. It's available in liquid extracts, which would be the strongest, and an alcohol extract. There's capsule forms. Read the capsule form on the label to see if it's an extract type capsule, and also there is a powder form. The thing about the powder form is this: to get the sexual properties out of Mirapoama, you can try putting it in hot water as a tea, putting a teaspoon in coffee. To get the strongest sexual properties from Mirapoama, you want to create a liquid extract in alcohol. Either buy a alcohol type extract of Mirapoama, even from Amazon or wherever, or if you plan on making your own, you want to steep it in alcohol for a good 30 days to pull that property out of there, and then you're going to have a very potent sexual extract. But Mirapoama is the best herb to increase sexual desire. So if you're just kind of bored, you've been on your smartphone too long, playing too many video games, or whatever you're doing, creating a loss of sexual desire, Mirapoama gets it kicked back into gear. Also, it increases blood flow to the genital area and does not increase blood pressure. This is the beauty about Mirapoama. I'm going to talk about Yohimbe next, but Mirapoama is the opposite of Yohimbe in the fact that it works exactly like Yohimbe, which Yohimbe is known as the herbal Viagra, but so is Mirapoama, but it does not increase your blood pressure. So this is something that is vital for all men. You can take the Mirapoama along with the citrulline or the arginine, even the maca that I've already talked about. So you can definitely combine these herbs together. But Mirapoama is at the top of my list. Quality will determine its potency as well as its function. So some of you may take Mirapoama and say, well, I've never felt anything from it. You may have not gotten a very good herb in the first place. I have used this herb, the purest form available, and let me tell you something, it works. I've seen other Mirapoamas out there that I've tried, and they don't do anything at all. It's all based on the company and where they're buying their herbs from. Unfortunately, there are companies out there that sell you an herb, and it's not the herb in that capsule that you intended it to be. So be aware of that as well. So it's all trial and error, and try to do your best and trying to find the right one. Again, sometimes simply buying the powder form is the best thing to do. Next one, Yohimbe, like I mentioned. This one, they say it increases sexual desire. I don't really find Yohimbe actually increasing sexual desire, but it does increase sexual function. And believe it or not, Yohimbe was once a prescription and approved by the FDA. So the dose from the FDA was actually 7.4 milligram. That's exactly how much Yohimbe, or what we would call the standardized extract, Yohimbine, that's the dose you actually want. Unfortunately, I've read the reviews on yohimbine across the internet, and many people who buy yohimbe state, oh my gosh, it makes my heart race, it makes me jittery, it makes me nervous, it makes me sweat, it makes me feel cold and clammy. Yes, all that is true, but there's a reason why. Any dose above 7.4 milligram will cause all of those side effects. I've had men say, oh my gosh, I just felt like I was going to have a heart attack. Read the label of your yohimbe product. I guarantee you that the dose of yohimbe is going to be from 10 milligram to 25 to 50, as high as 100 milligram. All those dosages are far above the limit in which they should be. And you also find yohimbe in a lot of these sports supplements in which people want to lose weight with, because yohimbe supposedly speeds up the thyroid. Now, speeding it up is not necessarily a good thing, because you can actually throw the thyroid off of its natural balance. Yohimbe works with body temperature, which is why you can feel cold and clammy 1 second and feel hot the next. You can feel the heart racing, your pulse increase, and you don't feel good. And some of these higher dosages at 50 to 100 milligrams can last for hours. I mean, even after the external symptoms wear off, you can deal with another 6 to 8 hours of your heart pumping too hard, too fast. So the dose on yohimbine should be 7.4 milligram or less to still get the actual function that you want without all of the side effects. So keep that in mind. Again, this is known as the original herbal Viagra. This was the herb that was actually used before Viagra, which you had to get a prescription for. Came in a very tiny capsule. And again, this is an herb that should never be used by anyone with high blood pressure. If you want the same effects of yohimbe without the side effects and without the side effects of increasing blood pressure, again, use the herb Mirapawama. That is considered almost the sister herb. It's strictly the opposite of yohimbe, but it will do everything you want it to do and more, and it's a lot safer to use. The next one, this is a little controversial here. Many of you use, some of you pronounce it tribulus or tribulus. This actually increases testosterone levels in the body, increases sexual desire based on the increases of testosterone, improves blood flow, increases fertility, and the seminal fluid, which is formed in the prostate gland. Here's the thing about tribulus or tribulus that a lot of men have no clue about. This is an herbal compound that when it was first introduced into the market, it was extremely high quality. I don't see a whole lot of high quality with this herb in today's market. But the thing is, this was promoted by Russian athletes back into the 70s, early 80s. This is when it became very famous, when it was coming out of Bulgaria, believe it or not. So those first doses coming out really worked. But here's the thing that a lot of men don't realize. This is an herb you cannot take every single day forever and ever. You take it for 8 weeks and you get off of it for 2 weeks to a month. Why? After 8 weeks' time, what this herb is doing is it's tricking the brain to send the signals to make more testosterone. After 8 weeks, the brain is like, wait a minute, I've been duped. Let's just cut off that pathway, and then the tribulus doesn't work anymore. So what you want to do with this herb, so again, I'm going to mention it twice, tribulus or tribulus, which way you want to pronounce it. You take it for 6 weeks, and you get off of it for 2 to 4 weeks to make sure that it always works for you. So after that 8 weeks time, you're just wasting your time and you're wasting your money. But it does increase testosterone for some, increases sexual desire, and also improves blood pressure and increases fertility and, again, the seminal fluid content within the prostate gland. So keep that in mind. But if you're going to take that herb, you may want to look at another herb to piggyback it with to get more use out of tribulus. It's called mucuna. Now, mucuna is a plant that contains natural L-dopa or L-dopamine, which is a brain neurotransmitter. The research on this particular herb is used for Parkinson's disease to help provide natural dopamine to the body without any side effects of using dopamine, where if you took levodopa, the prescribed dopamines for Parkinson's, those can have a lot of side effects, where mucuna does not. And mucuna actually promotes anti-aging. But by combining mucuna with the tribulus, it works as a great combination of increasing testosterone, and it makes a great combination if you're working out in the gym, because let's say you're over the age of 50 and you want to just feel better as you're aging. You want to continue getting stronger in the gym. So tribulus and mucuna work very well together. Now, the mucuna increases energy. This is something you only want to take in the morning, because if you take it in the evening, some people say that you could take it in the evening to reduce stress. You just may want to play with that just to find out for sure. I always take mine in the morning. Increases sexual desire because of the dopamine. And actually, what it does is, by providing more dopamine into the brain, it improves the dopamine pleasure switch, which includes increases for sexual desire, increases for food for some people, increases the ability of wanting to do more hugging and kissing and cuddling, I guess is what you want to call it. So mucuna works very, very well. It also reduces the levels of stress, which stress can be an indicator of poor sexual function, poor sexual performance. So you look into mucuna. If you're taking the tribulus, you can combine those together, and it seems to be a 1-2 punch in the areas of testosterone. Here's another herb, horny goatweed. Some guys like it. I've never found it ever to work at all. I mean, of all of the different companies that I've used from, I just think it's kind of a joke, to tell you the truth. It's one of those herbs like Damiana, where you just want to, it's okay to find it in a combination with other herbal compounds and male aphrodisiacs, but as a standalone, if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, go find something else. That's why I'm giving all this information to you today. Horny goatweed normally increases sexual desire, increases sperm count, which means that it's going to be used for fertility. By increasing sperm count, it can also help to improve the formation of erection. So if you've had great luck with horny goatweed, continue on. If you haven't, there's a lot of other types of herbs and nutrients out there to use to improve sexual performance. Also, I want to kind of step back to, if you have a problem with an enlarged prostate. So if any of you men out there watching, you're over the age of 50, you have an enlarged prostate, I don't recommend using tribulus in case you have that problem. It could actually aggravate that condition. Arginine doesn't aggravate the prostate. Myrapawama doesn't aggravate the prostate. Yohimbine does not aggravate it. Horny goatweed doesn't aggravate the prostate gland. But one herb which works very well, so if you do have an enlarged prostate, look at, of course, saw palmetto extract, pygeum, there's Swedish flower pollen. Look into glutamic acid along with alanine. Those work very well in reducing the size of the prostate. So anytime we talk about sexual function, we have to remember the prostate is involved there. The prostate is not just a gland, it's also a muscle. That's the reason why when men ejaculate, that's the muscular function from the prostate gland sending the seminal fluid up, meeting up with the sperm to send it out the other end, so that way, in most cases, it's to help fertilize the egg. So you have to have that power there, and you want to make sure that you have a healthy prostate gland. So another herb is called Tongkat Ali, and this is an herb from Malaysia. The actual patented name for Tongkat Ali is LJ100. You could actually look up my sponsor, herbalultra.com. You can actually give them a call. They have the purest LJ100 in America, because they actually import it in from their supply line. You can call them at 1-800-208-4180. But what Tongkat Ali does is that it increases sexual desire. It increases testosterone and DHEA levels, increases sperm count and fertility, does not affect the prostate gland. This one is excellent to use, by the way, gentlemen. Not only that, the one reason why it works so well is that it goes into the body and it unbinds bound testosterone. A lot of us will have testosterone in our body that our body is not using because it's bound. It's basically been caged, and the body's not releasing it to be used. Now, Tonkat Ali helps to free up bound testosterone so you can increase your testosterone levels naturally by using the very testosterone that your body's producing. So you're not making more, you're not forcing it to produce more, you're freeing up what you have already made so your body can use it to its best ability. The increases of testosterone can range anywhere from 30 to 70%. I've seen clinical trials in which Tonkat Ali has increased at 137%. But this is something that you can use with all of the herbal compounds that I mentioned today. If you want to look up the list, go to my website at drwardbond.com and look up all of the male aphrodisiacs. I'll just have them simply put in a bullet form, so that way you can just go down the line, see which ones you like, which ones you would like to try, and just go out there and find them and see what works for you. And hopefully all of this information has helped you make an informed decision. Now I want to thank all of my many sponsors for providing this program to you and so many out there who go to my YouTube channel. Herbal Ultra, Bright Core Nutrition, Carlson Labs, Mushroom Wisdom, as well as Pure Essence Labs, our sponsor of the day. And look up their fine products at drwardbond.com to learn about all of my sponsors. So let me leave you with this. May the Lord bless you and protect you. May the Lord smile on you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord show you his favor and give you his peace. I'm Dr. Ward Bond. And remember, something spectacular happens when you treat your body right.